guys, it's Jessica. Welcome and welcome back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel slash podcast, where I discuss all things style, wellness, pop culture, and whatever else comes up from week to week. Y'all, I am so tired. This new job is, I'm not gonna say it's kicking my ass, but it is an experience. Okay, I feel like this is my first big girl job. Let me explain. I have been working since I was 15. Some jobs were harder than others. I still feel like retail is the toughest industry there is. I thank God I'm not working retail. I don't know if I would ever be able to go back. The job that I left before I started this one, I was there for 10 years. I will say that maybe the first couple of years were challenging. I had a lot more responsibility, but it was nonprofit, and nonprofit is notoriously mismanaged. So post pandemic, I not only knew the job really, really well, I could kind of do it in my sleep. I had also been there for so long, right? That it was just old hat. It was routine. So I didn't feel like work was particularly challenging. It was just work. This is, I'm in the finance industry. It moves really quickly. My boss is quite demanding, but within reason. And yeah, it's a lot to manage. It's a lot to juggle. I'm very grateful to be employed. I am very grateful to have a title change in this economy. There's a lot to be grateful for. But because I am new at this job, and because it is a more challenging industry, even than fashion, like fashion was very hands-on, very, even when I worked in corporate, but it didn't feel particularly hard. I don't know what it is about this job. It's challenging me in a number of ways. It is a learning and growing experience, and I'm learning and growing through it. Okay. But I said that to say, I have been thinking since I started this job, like, how do people work a real, big girl job, right? And also have the time to deal with a partner who doesn't add to their lives. Because yesterday was a particularly challenging day. I will spare you all the details, but somebody spoke to me in a tone that isn't conducive to a positive working professional or personal environment. And I'll just leave it at that. And I handled it really well in the moment. I didn't react. I responded thoughtfully and carefully. And it pissed me off for the rest of the day that I had to respond in that way, that I couldn't respond the way that I wanted to. And I felt so frustrated at the fact that as a Black woman, we have to be so much more measured in our responses, in our reactions, in our existence, because there are so many preconceived notions about us. And I tell people all the time, I think the greatest privilege that white people enjoy is being given the benefit of the doubt. If a white woman is stern, assertive, whatever in the workplace, it's good. It's feminism. It's all of these things, right? It's tearing down the patriarchy and all these things, because they're giving her the benefit of the doubt that she is competent, that she is capable, and that her assertiveness or her sternness or her being curt, quote unquote, doesn't lend itself to her also being violent. That's the benefit of the doubt with white women, right? It's, oh, depending on, what you believe about them. We don't get that as Black women. If you don't have a low grade smile, we're not allowed to have resting bitch face at work. We have to be approachable. And like Tanika B said, we also have to comfort people. People don't really want Black women around unless we're fulfilling this kind of maternal role where we're offering comfort and security. And if you present a certain kind of way as a Black woman, it is intimidating to some people. And the way we have to play mental gymnastics and emotional gymnastics to get through the workday in corporate America is some shit. And again, I am so grateful to have a job. So grateful. And I am frustrated at the fact that I have to do so much to be a version of myself, to be knowledgeable and teachable, to be likable and approachable, but you don't want nobody to think that you're flirting. You don't want anybody to think that you're giving them any kind of signals. And it's this very tricky tightrope that you're walking in addition to just doing your job. And at my last job, I feel like my manager was very, um, she wanted to be too personal with me. She critiqued my job performance based on how much she felt like I liked her. That's a mind fuck. You're my superior. Why are you invested in whether or not I like you, and why are you trying to force friendship with me? I don't want it. Keep it. And if she had have been a man, it would have been outright harassment. But because she's a different demographic, it's just, oh, benefit of the doubt. Oh, she means well. She just really wants to do a good job. And what's the harm in her wanting to be? I want to be your friend. I should be allowed to not be your friend. But anyway, I said all that to say, I can't imagine coming home from having to navigate that space and then talking to a partner who can't support me emotionally or mentally, where I can't come home and just, kick my shoes off. Somebody brought up like years ago this very millennial thing where it was like this quote. I don't know if it was on Tumblr or what, but it was like, or a tweet or something. And it said something like, sometimes you just have to throw your hair in a messy bun, turn on some gangster rap, and get shit done. My retort is sometimes you got to come home, take off your bra, slam a seltzer water, and give up. Just give up. And I recognize that, like, in this season of having like this real adult job with real deadlines and expectations and deliverables and all this stuff, I need a partner where I can just come home and take off my bra and slam a seltzer and give up alongside you. Like, can we come home and just give up together? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, can we relax together? Do I have to come home and also take care of you like you're a child? Like, can we take care of each other? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really solidifying for me the kind of partnership that I desire and how far away from that I have been. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw Cree Summer, who is a phenomenal and iconic Black actress. We know her mostly for her voiceover work, but also from A Different World. But she was doing a podcast, and she was saying that at her age, I think she's like in her 50s, she can't say that she has ever been in partnership with someone who was on her level or who actually deserved her. And that makes me sad. Another creator that I follow, trans girl Dominique Morgan. If I'm saying your name wrong, sis, forgive me. I'm vaguely like seeing it on TikTok. I think it's Dominique Morgan. But she was saying that women are socialized to become exceptional only to get into the dating pool and have to settle. And that hit me like a ton of bricks because it's so true. You are taught so early on that your main goal is to be desirable. And that means so many things. It's such a loaded term, but you're taught to build yourself up, to do all this stuff. You read the self-help books and you develop the hobbies and you make the money and you do all of these things, hopefully for yourself. Hopefully you get to a point in your adulthood where the things that you do are just for you and it's no longer about attracting a mate. But at any rate, you're out here doing all of this stuff, and then people want you to settle for a partner. I'm supposed to be exemplary and exceptional to be chosen by somebody who isn't even up to snuff. That don't seem right. That don't seem fair. That don't seem reasonable. So, you know, as my friend Courtney says, what can you do? Because what can you do? You just exist and hope for the best. But again, said all that to say, I can't imagine working a real job for years, this level of responsibility, this level of anxiety, and coming home to somebody who playing in my face. It'll be a 13th reason why. I don't, can't do it. Can't do it, won't do it. I want to say something. Obviously, that's why I'm yapping in front of a camera. Katya, one of my favorite drag queens, said that 2025 is the year of being single, frugal, new beginnings, harsh realities, and lovely acceptance. I love that. I've been carrying that with me in my spirit and in my notes app on my phone. Okay. I really like that. I just want to toss that out there for you guys. I also feel that I would be remiss if I did not say asking for the skincare routine is futile. There is no great mystery to how anyone has great skin. It's one of two things and a combo special, possibly. It's genetics and it's money. When you see a person, you're like, oh my God, da, da, da. They could list out for you every single serum that they use. If your genetics are not in alignment with theirs, it won't work for you. My mom has flawless skin. That woman has never had a blemish, a pimple, a blackhead. Now, if she wanted to, my mom could be out here selling the girls all kinds of snake oils. She could put anything on her face and she could put nothing on her face. The girl just got good skin. Like, if you want great skin and it's not happening for you, you don't need to go and follow the routine of your local tickety top star. You need to go to the dermatologist, which is why healthcare is important and should be accessible to everyone. Okay, that's that TED talk. Let me tell y'all about how I'm real pissed off at the way y'all are acting about this sculpture of this Black woman created by Thomas J. Price, who is actually a British sculptor. I didn't know that. But basically, there is a sculpture of a Black woman in Times Square. And people are outraged by it because this sculpture looks like any Black woman you have ever seen that you have ever known. And a huge part of why this person looks so quote unquote unremarkable is because he's challenging the notions of what it means to celebrate certain figures. Why do we celebrate some figures and not others? And when I say figure, I mean that literally and figuratively, actually. Who gets to determine which bodies, which existences, which presences, which lives are worthy of being deified or just of being, what's the word I want to say? Who gets to determine which images, which bodies, which people get to be celebrated in this way, basically? I'm sure there's a better way to say that, but again, I worked all day. I've been up since 5 a.m. I want for us as Black people, as Black Americans and across the diaspora, I want us to not require Black people, and especially Black women, to be extraordinary in order to be celebrated or to just exist. Why can't we ever just exist? Y'all care entirely too much about what white people think of us. It's this whole thing of, if white people are present, we need to put our best foot forward. But y'all's definition of best seems to align to an eerie degree with white supremacy. This is just a sculpture of any Black woman who you know. And I am fortunate enough to be a Black woman, to be loved by a lot of Black women, to be in community with a lot of Black women. And I find, like, I think that the sun shines out of my friends' asses, my auntie's asses, my mama's ass. Like, I think the sun shines out of our asses. So this tracks to me. I don't need for every Black woman who is visible to be a certain size, to be a certain color, to have her hair a certain kind of way. This reminds me, years ago, I want to say it was H&M. Some big brand did an editorial, and they had a little dark-skinned Black boy with with kinky hair, as in the front of this kid's photo shoot. And I will never forget one of my friends from back home making as his Facebook status, why would they put little man up here looking like he just got done playing outside? Why wouldn't they put a kid with curly hair up here? Da, da, da. Sit with why you don't feel like this little Black boy who looked like man from down the street, why isn't he acceptable as representation for little Black kids? That's what some little Black kids look like. That's what a lot of little Black kids look like. What is this obsession? It's the same conversation that people wanted to have about Annie and Smoke from Sinners. Well, why couldn't Annie be younger? Why couldn't she be slimmer? Why can't she just look how a lot of Black women look? I just want us to sit with it. You don't have to answer the question right now. Maybe it's something to talk about with your therapist. Maybe it's something to journal. I don't know. But why do you need for people who are in a position to represent Black people to look so much like what white people think beauty is supposed to be? Why do you define beauty along their standards when so many of them don't even meet their standard of beauty? Why wouldn't you start to define beauty with yourself, with the people who look like you? Why would you make it something so far away? I don't get that. And again, y'all know I always try to ask questions with curiosity over conviction. And it's like, we know why, but I wonder if for the people who listen to me, I feel like we're mostly on the same page with a lot of things. And I feel like I'm kind of talking into an echo chamber. But if someone who isn't familiar with my content or my mindset or whatever, like, comes across this video, am I going to be able to change their mind? I just don't know. I just don't know. But I need for people who are self-aware to know that you are not alone, because that shit is crazy. Y'all are outraged over a statue of a Black woman that looks like a Black woman, and you should not require your own people to be extraordinary, to be celebrated, acknowledged, or to exist. That's insane. Like, it's such a high standard to put on your own people. I just don't get it. Anywho, I think that if the plastic surgeons from Botched, I think that if they set up shop like a residency, like they just did a brief stint in the city of Atlanta, they could clean up some of the. I am very pro cosmetic enhancements. I love a good little boop boop, a bit of maintenance, a little zhuzh. I love when someone gets a complete overhaul, but it don't look like it. Like, can we talk about Lindsay Lohan? She looks great, you know? Uh, and I don't think that's a little boop boop. I think that's an overhaul, okay? She looks great. I am seeing some things that look otherworldly. And I want everybody, I love everybody, and I want everybody to live a good life and have good things. And I don't understand. I don't understand being a Black girl with full lips and also getting lip injections. I don't get it. I don't know what you're going for. I feel like what you have is what people are going for. So I don't know what you're doing here. I'm confused about the whole thing. But I really feel like if a very skilled practice of cosmetic surgeons moved to Atlanta for just a month or so, they could rack up. Lastly, I want to talk very briefly about friendships because people were very divided on Issa Rae saying that she's not a good friend because between her job and her relationship, she just doesn't really make time for friends or something like that. I think that friendships evolve the same way that life evolves. One of my sisters, if I don't hear from her or she don't hear from me after like 36 hours, I'm gonna call her husband and or I'm gonna pull up because where you at? Where you at? What you doing? Who you with? Why haven't I heard from you? Like my other sister, we don't talk that often, but when we do talk, we pick up where we left off. I have very close friends that we don't talk to each other every day, but we can pick up where we left off. And I think that I say this with the privilege of being a person who has a lot of friends. And I don't mean associates, I mean, I genuinely have a lot of friends. If I lost everything right now and needed to go stay somewhere and start completely over, I can think of at least 10 people that would gladly take me in and be like, girl, what do you need? That is a privilege. However, in addition to that privilege, I have also had to reprioritize people. As a woman, especially being a woman from the South, most of my friends are married. Most of my friends have kids. Very few of my friends from back home identify the way that I identify in terms of being straight, single, employed, whatever. Most of the people back home are partnered, married, working on back number two, child. I expected that when those people got married, I would not hear from them as often because I recognize that marriage for a lot of people takes priority over all things. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying it's a thing that happens. If I sat around and pouted and felt rejected by those friends because their lives went in a direction that mine didn't, I would be miserable. Instead, I just recognize that that person does not have a whole lot to give me right now. And I am a person who, by virtue of having depression, I am a person who needs a good bit of emotional support. I ain't gonna hold you. If I recognize, especially at 37 years old, that a friend does not have the capacity to show up for me, especially if they have that expectation from me, if I'm always showing up for them, but they don't have the capacity to give it back to me, I reprioritize them. Some of them I genuinely have cut off, or they hear from me very sparingly. But you look up one day and you realize everybody's priorities are different. And some people's priorities simply no longer align with my life, my lifestyle, my choices, my interests, my whatever. And I don't necessarily think that people mean any harm by it. Like my sister that I talk to all day, every day, I'm one of maybe three people who knows what's going on with her at any given time because not only is she very busy, she just isn't the kind of person who keeps up with people. She's never been that kind of person. And I don't know if that necessarily makes you a bad friend so much as you simply don't have the capacity. And I think that we have to be okay and at least like the person is aware. But again, the people that I've had to cut off are the people who aren't aware that like you take a whole lot and you don't give very much at all. And it's not a tit for tat, but I think all relationships require some level of reciprocity. So I said that to say, if you aren't the kind of person who is a good friend or who doesn't prioritize friendship, That's your black ass business, as long as you are not expecting for people to prioritize you. You go work your job and you go be with your man. If and when either of those things falters, don't be the kind of person who comes running back demanding support that you didn't give. That is so messed up. You can't abandon the community because you have prioritized capitalism and romantic relationships, which is your business. But I'm the kind of person that, like, I'm very big on community, and I would want for my partner to be part of my community, not to live a life separate from my community because I have a partner. But that is how I am. It's just not how all people are. Everybody does not have like a communal kind of mindset. And I feel like that's okay as long as you're not taking. Oh, my actual last thing. Y'all, I am watching Mobland and I am so obsessed. I would watch Tom Hardy read the inside pamphlet of a box of Monistat 7. Tom Hardy could read me The Coldest Winter Ever, and I would listen to the whole thing as long as he didn't try to do any of the accents. I love Tom Hardy, is what I'm getting at. And I'm really happy to see him in this show alongside Pierce Brosnan, who just gets better with age. Helen Mirren is doing her thing. I hate her character. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but Mobland on Paramount. Paramount Plus, I'm going to tell you something. The app, Paramount Plus's app is so ass. I feel like if you try to rewind on Paramount Plus, a hand reaches out of the TV and punches you in the face and then steals $10 out of your wallet. It's such a shit app, but I keep going back for Mobland. It's so good. Everybody's trying to get me to watch Forever. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit more sentimental than what I'm really in a space for right now. So we'll see. But thank you guys for joining me. This was kind of an all over the place kind of episode. I wanted it to be a little bit shorter, but hey, I'm meeting my goal. I'm back here for you guys, and we will talk again soon. Be sure to like and comment and subscribe and rate and review and join the Patreon and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.